Hello! This is the 30th edition of the American Sunlight News and Literature podcast. Our Mark, the great chairman of the Party of Commons and our beloved leader, put out an article recently in which we were a little skeptical of the acquisition of the farmers market by the city of Federal Way, but now that it's a done deal, we are beginning to look at it in a different way. As many of you know, the Biden regime instituted, with little pushback from rhinos and Republicans, and of course none from globalistic Democrats, a terrible idea, which is mainly known as the Globalist Open Borders Project. This gross violation of immigration laws and the Constitution by Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, and their minions basically just opened the door to the United States, similar to the Oklahoma land rush, to millions of foreigners from mostly the Americas, south of the Rio Grande River, but also the entire damn world. This ludicrous, brazen venture by the regime, that will thankfully be out of power in a few days, is the biggest national security threat that America has ever faced. Biden and his band of treasonous fools let in, by many estimates from credible sources, hundreds of thousands of foreign spies, criminals, and terrorists into the landmass of America, including, by all accounts, and not the least among those according to an interview he did with the news program 60 Minutes, the outgoing FBI director himself, probable thousands of Chinese saboteurs. Because of Biden's outrageous open borders, the next several years may well become the most dangerous in America since the Civil War, and we can't predict which series of afflictions and maladies might befall our nation, but we need to be prepared for them. There are two institutional American organization mottos that the whole country will have to make their own. One is the Boy Scouts motto, "Be prepared," and the other is the Marines' motto, "Always faithful." Keeping the Boy Scouts motto in mind, Mark is thinking, now that the city of Federal Way has indeed bought the farmers market, it could be useful for the city to own an agriculturally minded venture like this, although ordinarily, Mark is a lot more pragmatic when it comes to what governments should be involved in. He's basically small government minded, with exceptions and depending on what level of government we're talking about, but these are not ordinary times given the foreign menaces that the Biden regime has set upon America, and that will inevitably, to be honest, cause chaos and havoc. Hopefully, the new Trump administration can mitigate the amount of trouble coming our way through his America First policies, but there is only so much that even a level-headed government can do now that the many Trojan horses have been let into the country. Mark believes that the farmers market could become an emergency food backup plan for the city if regular markets go into a tailspin because of unforeseen events and calamities. We could also start hoarding seeds and growing our own city's food if it comes to that, and a lot of farmers around the area could give us ideas for how the city could be self-sufficient for growing food and maintaining a long-term supply. So, despite our article Overreach on the American Sunlight News and Literature website, and also published on Facebook, we're beginning to think that the city running the farmers market is a good idea given the landscape of America in the soon-to-be aftermath of the ignominious Biden regime. We are always truthful, but even in the hands of a much better administration, which should be Trump's, we can only stress that they will have a gigantic mess to clean up, and the seas will be rough and treacherous in the meantime. It's probably going to take more than one administration, another way of saying more than 4 years, to clean up Biden's mess. Thanks for listening to the 30th edition of ASLNL. Our website address is americansunlightnews.website. I repeat, americansunlightnews.website, that's all one word before .website. Strength, honor, and nation.